Hello, what's up, and welcome back to my channel, Roam with Rach. My name's Rachel. If you don't know me, hello. Hi, welcome. I have traveled to so many countries. The majority of them I've done solo because if your friends are broke and no one wants to travel with you, you're gonna have to do it alone, babes. I hate to break it to you, but it's true. In this video, I'm going to share 5 places in no particular order that I recommend traveling solo as a woman. I make lots of content on solo travel, from packing tips to vlogs to travel tips and advice to story times. If you like to travel or you're looking to start traveling some more, consider subscribing to my channel for some motivation, inspiration, entertainment. I feel the need to caveat at the beginning of this video that any place has the potential to be unsafe, but I'm just sharing my experiences of where I felt the safest. But it's really important to practice safety wherever you go and just make sure that you're being very cautious, especially as a woman traveling alone. So yes, let's get into the video. Okay, the first place I recommend traveling solo is Ireland. Ireland is one of those places where I feel so at home. It's so hard to explain if you haven't been there before, but Ireland is just so welcoming and warm and fun and friendly, even though they are a country that tends to get some rain and gloomy weather. People there and the culture definitely make up for that gloominess and weather because everyone is just a joy to be around. My favorite place in Ireland is definitely Galway. I just really loved being in Galway. I've actually been to Ireland twice. I've only been to 2 countries twice because lately I've just been trying to see as many new countries as I can. But there's a reason why I've been to Ireland twice, and it is because it is just so amazing there. It's also one of the cheaper countries in Europe to travel to. Not the cheapest, but one of the cheaper ones. But I highly recommend visiting Galway. It is just their like artsy kind of city. Everything is like walkable distance. It's just a great vibe, cobblestone roads. Ireland also has a beautiful countryside as well with like the Cliffs of Moher. It is stunning. The reason I recommend traveling to Ireland solo is because I felt very safe there. It was very easy to come out of the airport, get transportation into Dublin city center or to Galway if that's where you're trying to go. So transportation was really easy and simple. I felt safe even walking home like later at night. Obviously do this with friends, but all this to say that the country felt very safe and warm and welcoming. The second place I recommend traveling solo would be Thailand. Thailand is such a well-traveled part of Southeast Asia, and because of that, it is very, very safe for travelers. The ease at which you can find transportation in Thailand is like Ireland on steroids, okay? It is so easy to like find not only a bus to and from cities or a train or a plane, but you can also just easily book like a Grab. And when you book a Grab, which is like the Uber in Southeast Asia, you can choose if you want a motorcycle, a tuk-tuk, like a car. You can choose this to make it cheaper and better for you. Like for example, if I was just going to the beach to meet up with friends, I would go on a motorcycle, easy. If I was going to the airport, I would choose a tuk-tuk because I liked riding in tuk-tuks and there's somewhere I can put my bag. If I'm traveling with a bunch of friends and we have a bunch of bags, I'm gonna choose a car. You can choose the safest and cheapest and best option for you. Also, another reason I recommend traveling there solo as a female is because it's very cheap. And because it's very cheap, your money is going to go farther. You can do more girly pop things, okay? You can go to yoga. You can go out for brunch with your friends. You can go to the beach and spend a bunch of money on drinks and just have a good time. The only downside I would say for traveling solo to Thailand as a woman is just being mindful of the party scene. I find in Thailand there are a lot of people who could potentially be putting something in your drink, especially when you're at like full moon parties or you're just going out at very populated areas. So always just be mindful if you are someone who likes to go out and party. Make sure that you make some good girlfriends that you think would have your back. Keep your wits about you and keep an eye on your drink. That is the only thing that I would say is like the bit of danger that comes with Thailand, but that obviously can happen in a lot of cities. Next country I want to talk about is Sweden. Sweden is one of the more recent countries that I did. I actually went to Sweden this year to go see Taylor Swift, so full solo travel girly pop moment. I think I felt like extra safe there and felt the need to put it on this list because when I went there, obviously the whole city of Stockholm was just so densely populated with other Taylor Swift lovers, and so basically the whole city was filled with Swifties. But even without it, I do think Stockholm would still be super safe. All the Scandinavian countries are just very clean. Scandinavia has like clean drinking waters. You can drink right from the tap. But yeah, I say Sweden, but what I really mean is just any of the Scandinavian countries. Sweden is just one of the Scandinavian countries that I did solo. The other ones I did with other people, and so I can definitely highly recommend Sweden. Also, if you follow me on Instagram, you might remember the story of how I lost my Taylor Swift merch box, and my friend was able to go and retrieve it for me. So super safe. Nobody even tried to steal it, okay? Amazing. The next place I recommend traveling solo as a female would be Vietnam. Now, Vietnam is well traveled, but it's definitely less well traveled than Thailand. So I found Vietnam a bit more authentic in a lot of places. I talk about this in my vlogs, but I really enjoyed like the north and the middle part of Vietnam the most. I think Vietnam is, dare I say, I think I've said this publicly before, but my favorite country that I've ever been to. I loved Vietnam. I love the food. I found everyone was so friendly and welcoming. I don't think I've talked about this in my vlogs before, but there was one night that I flew into Hanoi and I got into the city where I needed to be a little bit later than I thought. And so the sun was setting and I was sitting on a bus and I was like kind of getting a little bit anxious because, you know, I've never been to Vietnam at that point. That was my first time landing. I didn't really know if the city was going to be safe for me to walk where I needed to get to, but I was kind of like getting myself situated. I was on a bus and this man was definitely like watching me, so I'm like, oh great, this man's watching me. I don't know the vibes yet of this country. And the man literally came up to me and was like, oh, like, are you traveling? And I was like, yeah. And then I say what I always say when, you know, random people approach me, is that I'm always meeting up with a friend. That's a good female solo travel tip. Always just say that you're meeting up with someone, even if you're not. And I was telling him, oh, I'm meeting up with someone and I just need to like walk to my hostel. They're waiting for me. And he goes, don't worry, Hanoi is very safe and people respect travelers a lot here. And so you'll be very safe. And sure enough, I was. I had to walk down some pretty dark areas that were not very populated at all before I got to the heavily populated city and area where I was staying in. But I think I had to walk for like 15 minutes with all of my bags on me. And so I was a little bit anxious. I was definitely doing a speed walk, but again, I was completely safe. And there was other nights when I was in like the south of Vietnam later on in my trip where I kind of got lost when I was out looking for something to eat one night. And again, walking late at night in alleyways by myself, would not recommend. However, so safe. Like Vietnam, I felt very, very safe in Vietnam. And I've said it once and I'll say it again, maybe more safe than I would feel in Canada. I said it, man, I don't know. The last and final place that I would recommend traveling solo would be Portugal. I didn't go to Portugal by myself, but I feel like Portugal is one of those places where I could definitely see how easy it would be to travel it solo. This is a country where I just feel like everyone was very warm, welcoming, and I felt extra safe there. Taking Ubers, the drivers were always really respectful and nice. Portugal is also known for being one of the safest countries like in Europe, and so I definitely felt that when I was there. Again, Portugal is kind of like Ireland, where it's kind of like in the middle. It's not super expensive, but it's not super cheap. Like, it's a pretty good deal. The weather there is lovely. The people are lovely. Something else that I loved about Portugal is that they have the most easily accessible driving conditions for electric vehicles. Like, there's so many charging points around the country. So I love an environmental effort because I am an environmental girly. Even when you were on Uber, you could like book like Uber Greens all the time so easily, which is essentially like a car that will pick you up that has 0 emissions. Portugal is just a great place to visit, especially in the summer. It's so beautiful there. All right, that is everything for this video. 5 places I recommend traveling as a solo female traveler. Again, make sure you use your discretion when you're traveling solo. It can be very safe and very fun, but you also need to make sure that you don't let your guard down too much, because at the end of the day, your safety is the utmost important thing ever. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and comment down below if you've been to any of these countries or like any other countries you think that I missed and that should be on this list. Maybe I haven't been to them yet, guys, okay? Don't yell at me, but let me know in the comments. I love talking to you guys there. Yeah, that's everything. Subscribe if you like travel videos, and I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.